Hey everyone, welcome. In this explainer, we're going to tackle something I know so many of us struggle with at the end of a long, exhausting day. Figuring out exactly what our tired brains need to finally just power down. I mean, we literally have a million tools right at our fingertips, right? Whale sounds, deep breathing, lo-fi beats. But honestly, a lot of times that just creates this modern relaxation blur. So today, our goal is to completely demystify that blur. We're going to break down the distinct differences between ASMR and guided meditation, look at what the science actually says, and figure out which tool your nervous system genuinely needs right now.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap to untangle all this confusion. We'll start with the relaxation confusion, move on to receiving versus noticing, then look at what the science actually says, followed by choosing the right tool, and finally, how to combine them into a perfect synthesis.
Section 1. The relaxation confusion. Why relaxation can be frustrating. Look, let me just start by saying this right out of the gate. If you have ever struggled to relax, or if you've actually felt your anxiety spike while you were trying to meditate, that is absolutely not a personal failure. It's incredibly common.
So why does meditation sometimes frustrate you? Have you ever had that experience where you're just completely drained, you put on a meditation track hoping for some relief, and 10 minutes later you just feel irritated and somehow way more awake? Well, while ASMR and meditation both share the ultimate goal of making you calmer, they absolutely do not ask the same thing from your brain. In fact, they use entirely different physiological and psychological pathways.
You see, a big part of the problem is what we can call the wellness blur. Modern wellness culture tends to lump all of these tools together. ASMR, sleep stories, breathing exercises, guided meditation, they all get thrown into one giant monolithic bucket labeled relaxation. But because our brains process them so differently, treating them all like the exact same thing leads us to use the wrong tool for our current mental state. It's kind of like trying to use a hammer to turn a screw. It's just going to leave you totally frustrated.
Section 2. Receiving versus noticing. Experiencing the difference. And this brilliantly illustrates where we draw the battle lines. ASMR is fundamentally about receiving. It's a sensory experience, and it is largely passive. Your brain is just reacting to external stimuli. Guided meditation, on the other hand, is all about noticing. It's an attentional practice, and it is highly active. So one is just giving your nervous system a gentle cue, while the other is asking you to actively train your awareness. Think about how ASMR actually feels for a second. It usually begins with just receiving. A soft voice, a slow rhythm, a gentle sound. It's that really profound feeling that someone is moving carefully, speaking softly, and demanding absolutely nothing from you. You don't have to perform calm. You literally just receive it. Now flip that around and contrast that passive receiving with guided meditation. Guided meditation usually begins with noticing. It sounds a lot more like this. Notice the breath, notice the body, notice the thought, come back, start again. Do you see the difference there? Meditation requires disciplined, active participation. It asks you to practice a skill, noticing exactly where your attention goes and repeatedly, gently bringing it back.
Section 3. What the science says. Validating the pathways to calm. Now that we understand the experiential difference, let's look at the rigorous academic research that validates both of these tools. Because let me tell you, neither of these are just passing internet fads.
Now what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer weight of the evidence. It's fascinating. ASMR is not laziness. Studies actually confirm it actively lowers your heart rate, significantly improves your mood, and effectively aids sleep. Meanwhile, we've got decades of research into mindfulness and meditation proving it physically reduces stress-related outcomes, alleviates clinical anxiety symptoms, and cuts down on rumination. So both methods have serious, proven backing.
But okay, there is a massive caveat for ASMR that we absolutely have to discuss. The science shows that ASMR's effectiveness hinges entirely on being a responder. It is highly responsive to the individual. If your nervous system happens to recognize the cue, like a whisper or a rhythmic tapping sound, it will quickly reduce your arousal. But if your nervous system doesn't recognize that cue, the exact same sound will just feel super boring, strange, or even intensely irritating. It's not something you can just force yourself to enjoy if you aren't wired for it.
Section 4. Choosing the right tool. State-dependent selection. So how do we actually put this into practice? We have to diagnose our current mental state to select the proper tool.
The best choice always depends on your current state. If you are totally exhausted, overstimulated, and entirely unable to focus, use ASMR. It's this incredibly easy, welcoming doorway for a tired mind. But if you are caught in repeating thoughts, like if you're ruminating on an argument you had earlier or stressing about tomorrow's to-do list, use guided meditation. It acts as a gentle workout for a mind trapped in rumination. Instead of just replacing a thought with a sound, meditation actually trains your relationship to that thought, teaching you to notice it without getting pulled into it.
You know, timing is also a really critical factor here. At bedtime, ASMR provides a soft sensory track to make the room feel less empty and way less alerting, without requiring any effort on your part. But if you try to start a long and tense meditation when you're already physically exhausted, it's almost certainly going to lead to frustration. Meditation often works much better earlier in the evening as a way to consciously step out of your daily problem-solving mode.
Section 5. How to combine them. The perfect synthesis. This is where it gets really exciting. Can we use both? Yes, but gently.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly actionable 4-step sequence you can try. Step 1, orient yourself for just 1 minute. Notice the room, notice the bed, and just remind yourself you aren't solving anything right now. Step 2, take 3 slow breaths. Don't force them, just use them to mark the transition. Step 3, let an ASMR track take over. Pick a soft voice or a slow trigger that doesn't require you to look at a screen. And step 4, borrow that meditation skill. When thoughts inevitably pop up, simply notice them, name them, like, oh, thinking or planning, and gently return your focus right back to the sound.
The reason this hybrid approach is a real game changer is because it basically delegates tasks. ASMR gives your nervous system a low-effort sensory anchor, providing predictability and safety cues. Meanwhile, the active meditation skill provides the mechanism to keep your wandering mind in check without causing all that frustration.
Now, as you try this, please keep a few common mistakes in mind. These tools are not medical cures, and there is no way they're magically going to erase bad feelings. Don't use ASMR just to avoid your emotions entirely. And definitely don't use meditation as some sort of pressure cooker to prove that you can achieve a perfectly quiet mind. Finally, do not stack every relaxation tool at once. You really don't need a heavy blanket, an eye mask, white noise, an ASMR track, and a meditation guide all happening simultaneously. Remember, both of these are simply tools for changing your relationship to arousal.
So the crucial point is this. When you diagnose your state tonight, ask yourself what you really need. If you need softness, if you are completely depleted and just need to receive calm, use ASMR. If you need awareness, if your mind is racing, and you need to intentionally manage those spinning thoughts, use guided meditation. Use both only when you need a gentle cue and a super simple way back to center.
I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Which actually relaxes you faster? Is it ASMR, guided meditation, or a mix of both? I highly encourage you to test that short 4-step combination tonight. Notice how your body responds to the sensory anchor, and notice how your mind responds to the gentle redirection. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this framework helps you clear up the relaxation confusion and finally find the calm you totally deserve. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day and sleep well tonight.